So that lightning? Anyway, welcome to a new episode of Gym Therapy with your host, Chris. I have not, in fact, been replaced by any reptilians or skinwalkers, as far as the public is aware. I was actually reading a funny little Reddit article the other day about this guy's like conspiracy theory about the world. And mid read, I got up into the kitchen and I made my little boat shaped tinfoil hat that I snugly had to place atop my head, because I do enjoy reading these goofy little theories from time to time. It's prime content. Kind of the gist of it was, we're polluting the atmosphere, sort of. Like, there's like 5 stages till like doomsday, and like we go to this like war that nobody knows that we're about to fight except the government, who's hiding everything from us. And like out of 5 stages where it's like the collapse of the world, we're on stage 4. Like right now we're like polluting the air, but we're polluting it in a way that these like octopus, squid, aliens that live under the water, we're doing it in a way that will allow them to like breach the surface, and then there's going to be like a conflict where we like fight them, and it's like a whole thing. And it gave me a lot of laughter in the wee hours of the morning, because that's when I do my best conspiracy theory reading, when I kind of get into that. My Google searches after 12 a.m. are likely monitored by the FBI, but you know, sometimes you just want to know how to make a nuclear bomb, right? Sometimes you want to know the logistics of it. Just because, I don't know, I find a lot of different things interesting. And I'm very much I want to know just to know kind of person. So anyway, that's kind of a tangent. But today, in our little doom and gloom world that we find ourselves in, as it's raining and lightning is flashing outside, it's kind of set the right ambience for the topic that I wanted to talk about. And that topic is being alone and being okay with it, and finding happiness in yourself, how you can kind of go about that, facing your problems and overcoming them. I don't know how much I have to say on this. Like, I have a couple rock solid pieces of advice, I think, as someone who is an expert in lonery, verb, to use it in a sentence. Do you see Chris over there? He's always really playing up his lonery. I think that was a functional sentence. You can see it in I'm going to start lobbying for it to be put in Webster's if it's not already. Did you guys know, for another little tangent, because this is how my brain works, because I mentioned the dictionary and something that shouldn't be in it that I want in it, is amped, I think, is technically correct. Like, am not is like contraction, AMN apostrophe T is like technically something you could say, but nobody says it. Why not? Can everybody just start saying amped? That would be so goofy. Anyway, I think I've stalled enough. The rain is kind of abating. Points for abating. I'm going to start giving myself points every time I say a word that makes me seem on the surface sort of intellectually coherent. Maybe I'm not, actually. But we're going to back the camera up. We're going to head into this gym. We're going to do a shoulder and a chest day. I keep like punching my hand. I've noticed when I'm editing my vlogs, I'm incredibly emotive, and I'm becoming like self-aware of it. It's like it's like that first moment you start understanding that you live in the world as a baby, but it's me seeing all the goofy things I do in my day-to-day life live on camera, and then I immediately post it on the internet for all of you to see. So that's like 3 tangents so far before we started this video. But again, topic, loneliness. We're going to talk about overcoming it. We're going to talk about being okay with it. Because once we become okay with being alone, and once we overcome those things that are holding us back, we're better people to then add ourselves to other people's lives when it comes to friendship, when it comes to relationship, and when it comes to like our interpersonal connections with the family that we already have. Unless you're me, at which point you don't have any family. So we're doing it just for the other 2 categories, which means we can dedicate ourselves that much better to those other causes. So we're going to pack up the camera. We're going to go inside this gym. Maybe we'll get stronger. No promises. I said we'd be doing shoulders and chest, so we're starting off with just a dumbbell press overhead. And then we're going to get into the topic at hand. So let's get this first set. My typical disclaimer. This really heavy weight for me, so if I fail, it's not my fault. I'm trying, doing my best, being an actual natural. All right, let's go. I hate shoulders, truthfully. Such an important muscle, but man, I don't enjoy, I think, any of the workouts, truthfully. So loneliness, being alone. I think being alone and loneliness is a little bit, it's kind of two different topics, truthfully. And I think you have to identify like where you're at on this spectrum, perhaps. Like you have loneliness, which may be entirely psychological. You might have like a good support system around you, being like friends and family, people that care about you, that you could talk to, but maybe you don't. Not everybody has to deal with your emotional burdens in life. You would hope that people especially close to you could help you out with those kinds of things, but it's not really guaranteed. It's not really something anyone really owes you aside from maybe your parents. And then you have people who are alone. I fall into this category. I don't have my parents to lean on. I don't really have siblings to lean on, and I don't even know that I can necessarily lean on my friends in a lot of cases, because I have this terrible view of, person-to-person interaction where I have this secret dread, this secret fear that these people are only my friends because, they have a benefit to being my friend. It's a different conversation when you are alone versus when you maybe just feel alone. So I was gonna say. It's kind of tough. I think a lot of us feel a lot of different ways for a lot of different reasons, and it's hard to put a queen-sized blanket across all of them and say, this is why I feel, or this is why you're feeling this way, and here's a fix-all solution. So perhaps the conversation really is to find value in yourself, right? If you can identify that you do have a good support system around you, perhaps first venturing into talking with them, broaching those topics. If you have a family that you're close to, reach out. Sometimes the biggest step towards getting help is actually acknowledging that you could use some. And if you have a good working relationship with your friends, if you have a good connection with your mom and dad, or a sibling, being brave enough to just say, hey, not even like I have problems, but just reaching out, right? Starting that connection. Because I think just talking about your problems is really helpful. Verbalizing things helps you see your perspective a bit, I think. Helps you face that perspective and helps you flip it. You also have to be willing, and I think part of, coping with being alone is finding value in yourself, right? It can be as simple as when you wake up in the morning, looking in the bathroom mirror and saying, you're handsome, or you're pretty, or you did your makeup well, or whatever it might be. Finding something small, identifiable, and being like, you know what? This is good. This is valid. I like this thing about myself, and just speaking it out into existence. And even if you don't believe it, every day, get up, look in the mirror, do that. we're gonna be, I think, done with the dumbbell press. And I think we're just gonna go to a machine chest press and we'll kind of continue this. I think a good secondary strategy would be to treat yourself, to perhaps take a step out of your comfort zone and take yourself out on a date, right? If you can't value yourself, how can you expect someone else to, right? Healthily. If you have a very self-deprecating viewpoint, it's hard to, one, not put that on full display when you're courting another human being, or at least let it seep out into like negative interactions and kind of depressive episodes. So treating yourself with value is very important, I think. And that can be, you know, it's Friday, you got through your work week, you love a restaurant, you don't have to necessarily go with anyone. You can go with yourself, right? Maybe it's you enjoy painting, going to a museum, looking at the art, right? Maybe just going through a walk in the park and just kind of experiencing life, feeling the wind on your skin, looking at the sunset or the sunrise if it's in the morning or in the evening, and really just kind of getting to a place where you're not just kind of wading through life, but living it. I think a lot of people get caught in like the sinkhole of being concerned what other people might think, or that other people are looking at them or judging them because they went to a restaurant and were eating alone, or because they went to a movie theater to see a movie and they were sitting alone. But I think the reality is, after you become an adult, right? You're out of high school and you don't have like parents with you. How many times have you seen someone doing something alone and didn't think a single thing of it? Like, you have to, like, at least for me, I have to like think of very specific situations where like maybe a guy was at a Chili's and eating at the bar alone, and I just assume he's on his lunch break, right? I don't really think anything about it. My first thought isn't, oh, he's got nobody to go to Chili's with him. Nobody wants to go sit margs and eat queso with this man. No, it's just normal, right? Same thing with the movie theater. On the surface, I have had some self-growth that I have had to kind of embark on myself when it comes to this stuff, because I used to think going to the movies was cringe, right? All by yourself. You need someone to go do this activity with you, or like, I don't want to do it because what if people judge me? What if people think something of me? And you know what? I've gone to see a movie alone. Nobody said anything, nobody looked at me strange, just sat my butt in the theater, watched the movie, got up and left. Because I think once we become adults, it's just, you're just living your life. And really the whole thing, like everyone not you as an NPC, is kind of true. Like, these are just like little flesh mechs running around me. They don't know I exist. They don't know I have thoughts and feelings. They're just doing their own thing. They don't care what the fuck I'm doing. I care what you're doing though. If I see you alone in a movie theater, I'm gonna dab you up, tell you you're doing a good job. Because that's the kind of bestie I'm trying to be for all of you. Let's get a set. I like how did you see I dabbed myself up? Because why am I such a weirdo? Not enough weight. Let's get some more weight. So it's stepping out of that comfort zone like we talked about in another video and treating yourself. Dress up, put your makeup on, put your best pair of Doc Martens on, your best pair of Converse, like, you know, your skinny jeans with the holes in them. Put your records on, play your favorite song. Anyway, and treat yourself. Treat it like a date. You're going on a date with yourself, and you have to, I think, learn to love yourself. And I think over time, when you do these kinds of things, you do become the boy boss, you do become the girl boss. Because how can you not love yourself when you are doing things for yourself all the time? When you're looking in the mirror, saying, you know, how attractive you think you are. Taking those, I think even taking photos of yourself that you think are good and just like having them to look at. Maybe that's a little bit narcissistic. Sometimes I watch my YouTube videos back because I feel like I genuinely make content that I would want to watch. And I think that helps you love yourself. You're like, hey, look at this thing I did. But whether it's drawing and kind of looking back at the art that you really fell in love with, or looking at your achievements and the percentage of people who actually beat the Orphan of Kos and Bloodborne, or like whatever it might be, and saying, hey, I did this thing and I'm pretty cool for it. I think that's crucially important to getting to a place of self-love. If you don't recognize your achievements, if you don't look at yourself in the mirror, if you don't treat yourself and date yourself, then it's easy to not see value in yourself because you're never doing anything that like tells your brain that you are of value. I think the other portion that's crucially kind of intrinsically linked with this is hobbies. If you find that you are not a person who has a ton of hobbies or any hobbies, I think that's very important, right? Sometimes the dark thoughts are best kept away by busying ourselves. And if your whole life is you wake up, you go to work, you go home, and you lay in bed and scroll TikTok till it's time to go to bed, then you have nothing, first of all, nothing to distract yourself. But I think a crucial part of the human experience is achieving things, right? I have a lot of, I don't know if it's pride. I have a lot of pride in my musical ability because I have been playing instruments since I was very young. And I have never stopped. I play the drums every day. I play the piano every day. I sing kind of poorly every day. And sometimes I just record myself and listen back to it. And it just gives you a little validation. I don't need validation from anyone else because the most important validation you get is from yourself. At the end of the day, when you're going to bed, you are in bed with you and you're in your head. So finding those hobbies and then looking on them and saying, wow, look how far I've come, or wow, look what I did, helps tremendously to scare the bad, dark thoughts away. And I think finding hobbies is easier than you might think it is. I know some people are like, well, I'm just not interested in anything. I didn't want to play drums when I started. I just got put in band in school, and I just kind of did it. And granted, that's a little bit easier of a situation because they kind of put me in it. There's nothing like made me do it. But I guess a more recent example is I just decided randomly a month and a half ago that I wanted to draw. I spent $20 at Hobby Lobby to get a sketchbook and some cool mechanical pencils, and every day I just drew a little bit. And I was really, really bad when I started. But as I like kind of kept going, I could see like every day I would look at the page and I would find one thing I really liked. And I would say, you know what? I did really good. I really like that thing. I'm proud of myself. And the next day, the same thing. And slowly, my drawings got better and better and better. And it's the same thing, I think, with any hobby you might pick up. Maybe you're not interested in bird watching. Have you ever tried bird watching? Have you ever tried identifying all the different species of grasshoppers in your yard? I think the thing about hobbies is sometimes we don't know we'll like something until we genuinely give it a try. For me, this is embarrassing, but I always had a really poor opinion of wrestling, like WWE. But one of my employees where I work is super into it. And finally, and one of my best friends too, finally, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch this. And I'm going to see what the hype is about. Because obviously a lot of people like it. And sure enough, this thing that I never had an interest in, never thought highly of, was entertaining. And I enjoyed it. And now I kind of like very, like, not a lot, but just like a little bit, I like keep up with it. I'll go on the Reddit every now and then. I'll see what people are saying. And I think that's a great example of maybe there's this thing that's like super cringe when you think about it on the surface, but until you try it, don't just ignore it. Don't just say I'll never want to do that thing, because it's not helpful. It's like the wrong mindset. I think we need to shift our mindset to that thing is lame and dumb and I don't want to do it too. You know, I've never personally tried the thing, but I'm open to experiencing it. And then once you do, then you could say it's boring and dumb and I hate it. I think we'll do some pull downs. It's been a while since we did some tricep pull downs, I think. So we're gonna do that next. Totally had my days backwards when I said tricep pull downs. It's a shoulder and chest day. So we have to do more shoulders. So we're gonna do this machine deltoid raise. So let's get our So we've kind of established we want to find value in ourselves. We want to treat ourselves, right? We want to take ourselves out on dates. We want to look at ourselves in the mirror and recognize the things that make us beautiful, recognize the things that we love about ourselves, and maybe even try to shift our perspective on things we don't. I don't have a huge nose by any means, but I always felt a little bit self-conscious about it. And just over time I came to accept the fact that this is my body. This is the way that I am, and I like the way that I am. Because the things that make me a little bit different are also the things that make me me. And there's value in that. There's value in the things that you hate about yourself because they are you. And maybe you don't like them. It doesn't mean other people don't. And if people are so shallow that they will dunk on you about things that are insecurities of yours, those aren't people who we should care about their opinions anyway. So, after feeling like we're beautiful, recognizing that we're beautiful, kind of going on this journey of self-discovery, self-love, I think another important aspect is identifying when our internal thoughts are bad. Like recognizing that inner monologue that is kind of dragging you down. Like when you're telling yourself you're worthless, or when you tell yourself you fail, when you don't feel like you're good enough for whatever reason because you got second place in the annual shoelace tying competition that is a part of your small town culture. It's okay. I think that's a crucial part of the human experience. The quest for perfection, the quest to actually achieve the unachievable. And that kind of boils down to our lives, right? Imagine how boring your life would be if you were just perfect at everything. If you never had anything to strive for. You know, you woke up and you walked into the kitchen and you were Gordon Ramsay. And then you decided you'd go for a run around the block and you were Usain Bolt. And then guess what? You decided to go tool around in your garage for a bit and you were Nikolai Tesla. What's the point of doing anything if you're already like the best at everything? You'd have no drive. And I think shifting our perspective, that internal monologue of I'm not the best at this or I have failed, into I can achieve so much more. I have so much more growth ahead, and making it an exciting thing. Like for me personally, this vlog, I don't think that I'm not that great at editing. Sometimes I feel like I'm not that great at speaking and getting my points across in an eloquent and concise manner. And every day I can think about how I can make it better for the viewer, how I can make it better for myself. And that branches off to everything in my life. And if you guys can also recognize that, yeah, maybe you didn't nail that kickflip in the front yard yesterday when everybody was watching. But that just means next time you can, right? Maybe next time you don't even show them a kickflip, maybe you do a laser flip. I don't know why I think you're a skateboarder all of a sudden, and we've gotten away from the grasshopper identifying and the shoelace tying competitions. But it's not that you failed, right? It's that you have room to grow. Let's get a second. And like for me, bodybuilding, am I happy with the body I have? Yeah. Will I ever achieve C-Bum's physique? No, I won't. Does that mean I can't aim for it? Does that not mean I can't improve myself and strive to lift more weight and look better in the mirror? Yeah. Should I stop because I might? It's like this thought process of, oh, well, you know, I'll never be Mr. Olympia, so why bother? First of all, you don't know that. You don't actually know that you won't be the greatest bass fisherman to ever walk the earth. You don't know that you won't actually be able to create the perfect chemical formula for mascara, right? If you don't try and follow your dreams, if you don't accept failure as a moment of growth, then you're just gonna shut down everything that you're striving to do because, why bother? So identifying the internal monologue, shifting your perspective, and striving for greatness. I think another trap we fall into is never being willing to talk about our problems. And I don't even think you necessarily have to talk to anyone about your problem. You could sit Snuffles the bear, you know, just on the side of the bed, look at him, and start talking. Just start yapping. And he's gonna listen, because he has no choice. And sometimes just vocalizing our grievances, vocalizing the things that give us pause, is enough to help us start the path of getting over it. Internalizing it and just kind of falling into that, you know, internal monologue of negativity when no one wants to listen to me, nobody cares, isn't the answer. I implore you, next time, when you're in that negative headspace, to just talk. Talk to yourself, talk to the mirror, talk to Snuffles, talk to your dog. I think speaking it is very important, just letting it out, even if it's to no one. I think you'd also maybe be surprised if you're one of those people who has friends and has family members, if you just called them up and say, hey, do you have a minute to talk? Would you like to go grab a coffee? And just be like, hey, I've had some stuff on my mind. Would it be okay if I just talk to you about it? They're gonna say yes, 100%. Finding a way to stop being afraid. And I think all of this kind of slowly builds upon itself, right? Finding self-love, taking yourself out on dates, recognizing the things that make you you and are great and are worthy of acknowledging, finding hobbies, pursuing them, recognizing your failures as room for growth, and then lastly, when you're having problems, being brave enough to reach out. Alright, and from here, we're gonna go find another chest exercise to do. Alright, next we're gonna do a incline press, so let's get that first set in. I think this next portion is for those who are maybe not so much, maybe you're emotionally alone, but you're also physically alone, right? You don't have any friends. Maybe you don't have any family. You don't know how to make those connections because if we're being truthful, I think it is very hard to find those connections and make them once you're not in a situation where you're being thrust into social experiences all the time, like college and high school, and even maybe work. I think where this is concerned, picking up a hobby is honestly maybe the best method. Go to a dance class, pick up a martial art, join a running group, join a cooking class. Like they have, depending on your city, right? Some of these things are more accessible than others, no doubt. And some of them will take a little bit of bravery. But if you just go, people will talk to you. People will say hi. Like, you don't even probably have to make any effort yourself. Like, if you just show up to the cooking class every day for weeks, people are going to talk to you. And I think over time, if you're willing to let those relationships bloom and blossom, friends, right? Just that easy. you have to allow yourself the ability though, right? You can't just, these things don't just happen. But I think in the adventure of exploring yourself and your hobbies and stepping out of our comfort zone just a tiny bit, and that goes to that other video that we made, right? Just taking that first step to stepping out of the comfort zone, buying the cool gym shoes, right? Buying the cool gym shirt, buying the camera to start recording your vlogs, getting a full set of steel knight armor so you can participate in the Ren Fair LARP with real combat and blunted blades. Whatever it looks like, I think just taking that first step, getting yourself mentally prepared over time, and then just doing it, right? Because ultimately, like we said earlier, there's a girl who just passed me. I don't know if you can see her on the camera. She already doesn't remember that I exist. Like, she looked at me for half a second, and now she's walking to the other side of the gym, and she's thinking about the ranch-flavored popcorn that she's gonna eat later. I made that up. That's not like it's not like a dig at ranch popcorn eaters. It is a little weird, but I'm not judging you for it. So just understand that, like, you're gonna go to this jiu-jitsu class, and honestly, I think most people are very positive, and they're very likable, and they'll see a new face, and they're gonna be like, damn, this is great. I can't wait to meet this person. I can't wait to see what they're like. So getting out of our own heads and being open to relationships and just taking that little tiny step, and I think society and the world really does the rest of the work for us with these things. Because you're not the only one who would like connections. People genuinely like meeting people. People genuinely like finding these new connections that they can add to their life. And who knows, maybe this girl at jiu-jitsu is going to be your future wife, or maybe this guy at salsa class, salsa dancing, I think, right? Might be your future husband. So you're not only potentially finding friends and a support system in our adult life, you might be finding the one. And I expect my invitation to your wedding, if you do, because I gave you the advice. I deserve it, at least. Please. I need stuff to do. Let's see this out. Alright, I'm going to do one more set. I feel like I'm running out of stuff to yap about, so I'm going to do one more set here, and I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll find out. And I think finally, the last thing I really wanted to touch on was, hey Chris, I don't have, I think, the social skills. I don't know how to talk to people. In the event that people aren't speaking to me, I don't know how to approach them. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle these situations. And I have a little bit of advice. Will it work for everyone? Maybe not. But hey, might help someone. So my advice in this situation, because I have personally struggled with how to talk to people. What do I say? What do I do? What will they think? Is strike up small steps, right? For me, it was as simple as every now and then, alright, don't judge me. I like Pokemon. Sometimes, Pokemon, whatever you want to say. Sometimes, occasionally, I say, I want to buy some Pokemon cards. I want to get duplicates, for you guys not in the hobby. I sell them, right? So I have to go to the UPS store to ship them. And there's this little, like, keypad that you swipe your card on, but always before, there's like, you go to pay, it has a question, would you like to donate to blah, blah, blah for children's blah, blah, blah. And they always just hit no. Like, I never touched the button myself. And I'm just, one day, for no reason in particular. I was like, hey, do you guys like hate children? And they're like, what? And I was like, well, you never let me donate to the children, so I was just wondering, like, maybe you guys don't like them or whatever. And just like a goofy little comment like that can like spark up a conversation. And then the girl was like, oh, you know, your tattoos are cool. And then we like chatted for a bit, and then I paid, and then I got out. And then she forgot I existed a couple minutes later. But it's like knowing that people like yapping. I like yapping. You see it all the time because I post 3 times a week. You give someone the opportunity to yap, they will yap, right? And it could be as simple as just maybe you're riding the train home from work, asking someone for the time. Like taking those little steps that are totally normal and mundane will allow you to get used to doing it. And maybe over time on the train, on the plane, wherever you're at, where you just ask this small innocuous question, you can ask something else. Like, hey man, I like your shoes, where'd you get them? Oh, super cool. I'm a big fan of shoobity-doos also. I have a pair at home. How, you know, what do you feel about the latest release, right? And as you have these small conversations, you get more used to having them, and you get braver when you talk to people. Is this perfect advice? Maybe not. Will everybody be willing to do it? Maybe not. But I promise, if you just, next time you're out in public, you either A, compliment someone, or B, ask them a totally mundane question that anyone would not mind answering. Because people like being helpful. So if you ask someone for the time, they're like, oh cool, I'll give this guy the time, no big deal. You see someone in the liquor aisle at Walmart. I don't know why I went to liquor. I swear I'm not an alcoholic anymore. I've never been an alcoholic. But if you ask someone, hey, you know, I love IPAs, they don't have like this brand, do you know any other stores that might have them nearby? And this guy might not know anything about beer. But he will engage with you simply because you asked. And nobody's going to think twice about you asking about a product that he's already looking at directly in front of him. Let's see this set. This is going to be a hard set. This is heavier than last time. I don't know how many I'm going to get. So, with that being said, I think I've more or less covered everything I wanted to. As I get deeper into my workout, the brain fluids kind of evaporate as they turn into muscle fluids. That's not anatomically correct, but it's what I like to tell myself. To recap a little bit, and we're going to recap in the car like always. I don't think you're getting away from the in the car recap at the end of this video. I'm just doing this for me to make sure I'm covering everything. Loving yourself, right? Noticing the things that you like, shifting perspective on the things you don't. Treating yourself, taking yourself out to dates, exploring the world. Making memories just with yourself. Because these things are important to shaping who we are. Trying new things, building up new hobbies. Right? And when we're not the best, recognizing that this isn't a failure, it's identifying your room for growth. Thinking about how much better you're going to get instead of how bad you are. Because truthfully, as you do things longer and longer and longer, you will get better. Like, you might never be Ash Ketchum. Or maybe you are Ash Ketchum. You know how long it took Ash Ketchum to win the Pokemon League? Nearly 2 decades. No longer than 2 decades. But he did, because he never stopped giving up, and because the writer said he was gonna. But you're your own writer, right? If you draw every day, you start playing the violin every day, you start running every day, you will get good at these things. And stop measuring yourself against other people. Measure yourself against yourself, right? Be better than you yesterday. You don't need to be better than anybody else, because the right people, be it a partner, be it friends, be it anybody, they will recognize your effort and value you because you achieved these things. You did, nobody else, right? You can't wake up and be good at anything, like, period. Some people might be more inclined, But if you think Picasso was painting masterpieces at 6 years old, he wasn't. And if he was, I don't know Picasso's lore. It's because he did it a while, right? You have to be willing to do things to get good at them. Shifting your mental, identifying that negative internal monologue, and turning it around, right? And then finally, if you don't have the social circle and it is something that you want, putting yourself in positions to gain them, right? If you don't feel like you're able to communicate with people well, practicing it, right? Everything takes time to get good at in life. And it's easier than I think some of us want to recognize. It's easy to get lost in the negativity and kind of hopelessness. But if we really step back, strip it all down, you can do it. I believe in you. If nobody else believes in you, I believe in you. Just like you guys have kind of all believed in me. Every time I wake up to an Instagram message because someone wanted to tell me that they liked my content and they're interested in hearing more and just want to yap a little bit about some of the things I talked about, that does so much for me, truthfully. Whenever you guys leave a like, when you leave a comment, it makes me feel a little bit validated. It makes me feel like I'm helping, making a difference, and that was the point of this to begin with. If you don't put yourself in a place to be validated, because I was terrified of making this vlog, I really was. But I would like all of you to do, I stepped out of my comfort zone. And if you need me to record a video, go and talk to 100 different strangers that I don't know, I will do that. Whatever you need, I got you. If no one else does. Let's get our last setup. Oh man, we're done. So we're gonna wrap things up here, and I'll see you guys in the car. Hopefully it's not raining anymore. And we're done. You might have noticed my clothes have changed slightly. I swear I didn't take a thirst trap, okay? I promise. Okay, I did. But I'm a gym vlogger. I have to take physique pics every now and then, okay? It's just it's part of the thing. It's part of the, what am I supposed to do? This is what's expected of me. I'm falling into societal norms. I'm doing exactly what I tell people not to do. Anyway, so I guess to recap, you hold the keys to your own happiness. You hold the keys to shifting your perspective, how you view yourself, the things that you do, the hobbies, your interests, your relationships with other, your ability to meet new people. And it is hard to visualize something, I understand, that you have never even fathomed doing, right? These things that maybe we tell ourselves are impossible. It's hard to see yourself doing that. But when we're stepping out of our comfort zone and we're looking to better our lives and we're looking to solve this kind of equation of being okay with being alone and falling in love with ourselves, you have to just be willing to take a step, right? Every road is paved with one brick at the very beginning, right? And that's true with our life. I'm not gonna deceive you. These things are hard and it takes time. I don't expect you to roll out of bed tomorrow, get the gym membership, talk to every person in there, find the love of your life by noon, and then get a promotion at work before dinner time, right? In order to achieve these changes in life, it takes time and it takes commitment, it takes effort, and it's not going to be easy. But as long as we have this negative internal monologue saying we can't, you won't, right? You have to take the first step. And some of that is having people that believe in you. I believe in you. We might not know each other, right? Whoever's watching this, even if you haven't gotten this far, I hope everybody could at least get this far. I say that, it's probably 50 minutes long. But if you did get this far, I believe in you. And I've said that before, and And I'll continue saying it because everybody has value. Everybody has so much potential to achieve the things they want to achieve. And once you do, once you get to that place of happiness, once you get to that place of acceptance, once you learn to love yourself, you take yourself out on dates, you accomplish things in your hobbies, and you view your failures as opportunities for growth, then once you have this blossoming life, you can invite someone else into it. And I promise, once you are happy, once you are content, that relationship that you're going to be able to grow with someone else who is equally in that same place, ideally, is going to be beautiful, because you can focus on all of the good things. You're not weighed down by your baggage. You're not weighed down by your insecurities. You're not thinking, oh, what does he think about me, like when I'm undressed. You're not going to be thinking about how you compare to his exes, because you are happy with you, because you're valuable. His exes, her exes, the things they did, the things they accomplished don't matter, because the only person we're comparing ourselves to is us. You might never be Michael Jordan. I might never be Chris Bumstead. But you can be damned sure that I'm going to be a better Chris tomorrow than I was today. Next time I put a vlog out, I'm going to try to be a little bit more concise. I'm going to try to be a little bit funnier. All this humor is natural, by the way. But the gist of it is, be better than you were today. You are valuable because you are you. Other people, that has nothing to do with you. Every person who you think might judge you for doing XYZ thing that brings you happiness doesn't remember you exist half a second after they see you doing it. Be brave. Be willing to try things you never thought you'd want to. And be open to people. I feel like making connections with people is so easy if that's where we're suffering from. If you're not part of any of the other things I talked about, and maybe this is an aspect of being a man, I don't get complimented very frequently, like at all. And anytime someone tells me something nice about, they like my shirt, they like a tattoo that I have, I think my mustache is super cool, I remember that. Like, there was a woman, and this is an embarrassing thing to be complimented about as a guy, but I used to be really skinny, like 125 pounds when I was 19, and I wore skinny jeans because I was an emo kid. And this lady said, man, I would kill for legs like yours. I have never forgotten it, because it was like a compliment almost. Like, she was saying I have nice legs if I was a woman, so it's like, you know. But that's the thing. Like, so many of us receive so little positive reinforcement that those kinds of things resonate and they stick with us. And if you open up with, hey, I love your shirt, where'd you get it? And then, like, once you're comfortable with having a conversation, you strike one up, I guarantee you that person will give you their Instagram, they'll give you your phone number, some way to contact them, and if you are willing, you could build a relationship with that person, right? It's even easier if it's like a thing you do every week, right? A jiu-jitsu class where you're forced to interact with one another, a dancing class where you're forced to interact with one another, a cooking class, things, just because you're out of high school, just because you're out of college, there are things that you can do. Maybe even if it's work, you work with other people, maybe explore looking into those relationships. So I think the gist of it is, if you want to be better, you can be. Being alone is hard, no doubt. But I think when we learn to love ourselves, when we learn to date ourselves, when we learn that we can have social connections if we want them to, it's just a matter of stepping out of those comfort zones, we can solve these problems. And if ultimately what you're looking for is that relationship, solving these problems will do you wonders. Communicating, having hobbies, not being so worried about the things that you've accomplished and the way that you look and the way that you dress and how society is perceiving you. We can tackle all of these things together. Through the power of gym therapy, we will find solutions. So I hope this video helped some people. I hope that we can all grow and be better than ourselves yesterday. That's what I'm committing to, and it's what I believe all of you can do as well. So until the next episode... Ooh, wait, whoa. I don't know if anyone's making it this far, but I think I'm going to add a new format. So we have our gym therapy, right? And I think I'm going to upload that like 2 or 3 times a week. But I had someone reach out, or they left a comment, and they said, They really appreciated one of my earlier vlogs where there was no format and I just kind of like talked about stuff. I think I talked about anime, I talked about movies, I talked about just like stuff that I like. And I think maybe once a week I'm going to do a vlog like that where I just go to the gym and I just talk about whatever I want. It doesn't necessarily have to be a topic. So look out for that. If you have an opinion on it, let me know. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch it, but I am worried about the amount of content I could put up. So having something else to like rotate in here every now and then would be good, especially when I'm a little bit dry on topics. So with that being said, that's today's video, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Peace.